Greetings, friends, and welcome to A Link to the Past Randomizer League Season number 4. This week, we present to you this match between the Immortals and Boomer Friendly. Representing the Immortals, we have Duke Firebird. Representing Boomer Friendly, we have Leviticus. And representing my commentary partner, we have Neon Tiger. Welcome.
Good to be here, Rick. Boy, this is a big match for these two teams. Both looking at striking out the first 2 weeks. It's been a rough start of the season for Immortals and Boomer Friendly. But there's some good news here. We got to have a winner. So somebody's going to win their first match.
No, we
could have a tie.
We could have a tie.
That's right.
We could have a tie.
Well, let's hope for something a little more decisive than that for both teams.
I mean, I remember season 2 when my division turned out to be the tie division, but normally under circumstances like this, you will see a winner and you will see a loser. However, there we go. We should have a team getting their first 3 points of the season 4 coming up here.
Yes, indeed. Of course, this is week 3, so we're as the kids say, we're new boot goofing. Casual boots is the game mode of choice this week.
Yep, we start ourselves with the boots, we start ourselves with a sword, and we get to spend the first 5 minutes watching these two go through Escape. So let's have some fun here, Neon Tiger.
Oh, yes.
We're going to enjoy this upcoming seed between these two, and we will find out if you count to 30 and then go to see the uncle, who will get there first.
Okay. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi. No, I'm not going to do the whole thing. But I'm going to pretty standard start here for anyone who's never happened to see what does the start of Casual Boots look like. It looks pretty much like the start to the actual game, except with boots and a sword. So
all right. So Neon Tiger, what do we get inside of this passageway?
Hammer. Nope. Aw.
Well, we have another chest. Don't worry. We have another chest.
I want the hammer. It's probably not going to be the hammer. Oh, it's more rupees. 300. Yeah, we did get the bloomerang in the start chest there in Link's house. So we do have an alternative item to use besides the boot sword combo for dealing with our enemies. Let's gonna go ahead and see them wander on down to Escape. There's a couple chests down here to check. Of course, we've got Dark Cross. We'll have the little halo of lights because, of course, we don't necessarily have to have the lamp show up early anymore. It's not been that way for a while. We're getting quite a bit of rupees here at the start, so not too bad. I mean, this will help out for Kakariko routing and get you a nice trip to the bottle vendor right off the bat, so we don't have to worry about farming rupees for that if we don't want to.
So let's go ahead and talk about these two teams while we've got a moment. Both of these teams representing the Kakariko division, the Immortals and Boomer Friendly, both sitting currently with a 0-4 record. Gonna start off with the Boomer Friendly, featuring Don Van Muir, Leviticus, and Scrub Casual. First week they faced off against Malgolechi, and in week 2, Shaq Tool's Digging Game. The Immortals featuring James FNX, Duke Firebird, and Roach 788. Week number 1 faced off against Swirly Coin Brewing, and then in week number 2 had to face off against New Swagget Jackson. A couple of rough weeks for both of these runners.
Oh yeah, definitely. And Immortals, of course, we've seen them before. We've seen Roach and Duke together before. Last season they had Julo Ninja, who was on a different team this season. So we've got James joining the Immortals. It's a pretty competent team. They did all right last time in Skullwood's division for season 3. Little bit rough because they did have a fairly stacked division there Obviously, with Tendrana Drifters, Team Kappa, Tile Rubies being the 3 teams that went through playoff
That,
wise.
that really is a tough division to have to go
Yeah.
through.
So they've been through the fire before, and Duke, Roach, and James they're pretty good. So it's one of those things too. Since this is invitational, this is the kind of the top division, I guess you could say. It's kind of like if we were talking soccer here, this would be like the Premier League of only to the past rando. Everybody who's here is pretty good, so it goes without saying that someone's got to have a rough season just because of the way that things shake out, because we're putting people against each other. So
There of the 4 divisions in the Invitational League, there really is no soft division. They all have some really, really strong teams that you have to get through in order to make yourself past week number 7. And one of the biggest things about this match here, or this week 3 pairing between these 2 teams, obviously it's not only going to be important to get yourself some momentum and get going, but the other big thing is this could come down and determine which team gets relegated at the end of the season.
oh yeah, that's a big deal too. Obviously, regardless of how many wins you get, you want to stay out of that relegation zone. So everything matters here. No matter how many games you win or lose, it's just all about keeping going for next season. And we did find a fire rod in Escape, so
Yes, we did.
that's the big get so far. It's the big item that we found. That's going to be pretty helpful, but not finding a whole lot more beyond that. A lot of junk, a lot of rupees.
I only see 4 items lit up on this tracker, which kind of is telling because of the fact that we started with 2 of them already lit up to begin with. That was the boots and the sword.
Yeah, a lot of times you'll see with the logic that's a fairly sparse start here, and we'll see how it looks after Kakariko and maybe a South Shore visit, because those are kind of somewhat more item dense locations. If you start off really sparse on the items, you very likely might end up with a linear seed, if I could speak properly. And yeah, it's usually pretty obvious from the get-go where you have to go if you've got only a handful of items.
If you're going to end up with a linear seed, at least you're doing it this week as opposed to in the previous weeks with the co-op week, especially in week number 1. We did get a map check. I did notice we had a few crystals in our light world, and it turns out to be Desert Palace is a pendant.
Yep, Blue Pendant, Desert Palace, regular crystals, Eastern Palace, Tower of Hera. Little map check there from Duke. A little bit of intel. That's a nice tree pull. Getting the full canters of magic there. That's going to be some good intel to have later.
And it turns out just to be a piece of heart on the Lumberjack ledge, so therefore we will not be doing any sort of Aghanim 1 fight to have at least that, but then again we could maybe have to go through Aga in order to get some Dark World access.
Yeah, it might be required to Aga fight for Dark World access, but that's about the only situation we're finding ourselves in right now. Piece of heart on the mushroom, so again, we're not really finding a lot of items as far as big utility items. Some bombs, that'll be helpful. Open up a couple of locations in Kakariko. Obviously go down the well, Blind's Hut, Chicken Hut. So a couple of nice little places you can check, but still a little dry on the progression.
As we make our way here to the village, obviously, as you mentioned before, a lot of wealthy items here. And just as a note, Duke Firebird does have the fire rod, as Chad is pointing out, as we will get that illuminated on the tracker in just a moment. And here we go. What do we have in Blind's hideout?
50 rupees. There's the flute. That's a nice find for Blind's Hut. That's going to be very helpful here. And the power glove. Okay, get some items here. Finding the flute, obviously, right outside where you need to activate it's not too bad. And then some rupees in the back chest here, but that's 2 more useful items.
Now, if we do find a few other items, that will also be very important to the fact that we have that flute, but we don't have that just yet. But the well could provide us with a few answers as well. Well, that's a unique item, but that's definitely not something that we're looking for in order to beat this game. Behind her, it feels vanilla. Then we find nothing, more nothing, and even more nothing.
Kind of thing. Well, we're gonna save some money on bombs. Maybe not 15, maybe not 15% like we're shopping for car insurance, but we'll save a little bit of cash. Gotta spend a little bit to get a piece of heart. So still not finding a whole lot, but we're gonna get that flute activation here first from Leviticus, and I believe probably looks like Duke is also setting up for the exact same play. Not a surprise, not a shock. This is going to open up travel quite a bit on the map, and also will open up Death Mountain.
And it's good the fact that they are remembering to actually activate that flute. Sometimes when you get an early flute like that, that's one thing you'll forget to do, and then you're like, oh, I gotta go all the way back to the village to activate it again.
Yeah, that's just time that you're burning. You don't want to have to burn any sort of time here. It's 1 bomb for 3. Nice deal on the bombs there, but you have to think if you're Leviticus that you're just kind of open for something more to come out of this than flute glove. It gives more locations, but it doesn't necessarily give much direction.
Especially considering the fact that that glove really only opens one item at this point, and the flute opens up 2 items. One of them that's not in logic at this point.
Library is just a piece of heart too. Obviously, having the boots to start with, you can actually have an item up there you can get right away. We'll see a quick check here. It's another piece of heart. Very healthy seed. And you're seeing Leviticus go ahead and use that flute. It's going to flute down to 7 and do all these South Hyrule checks that we normally see. No save and quits required.
And Duke Firebird's going to be following that path, I would assume, in just a moment as well. So, what are we going to drain the water for at the dam? Well, we're going to find that answer in just a moment. Duke Firebird giving us a little bit of a divergence. Because you had the flute, this makes fluting to 6 a whole lot easier to be able to check this, what would be a one-off location in Agina.
Pieces of heart all over the place here, Rick. Very healthy seed, but...
Yeah, this is a healthy seed. Why do we only have 4 hearts?
Because no one's going to go pick up those pieces of heart.
Good point. Unfortunately, only 10 arrows turns out to be at Agina, and then nice bomb toss right there from Leviticus, and pretty solid effort. So I noticed that there's some new game that came out today. Magic Powder, which is not in Logic, by the way. And that's it. That's the only thing we find inside of here. So I noticed that we had a new game that came out today. And apparently Leviticus is paying homage to that with their current sprite.
Yeah, I was picking up what you were putting down there with the Zero Suit Samus sprite on the right side there for Leviticus.
However, what is that sprite that Duke Firebird is playing as?
I know it. I've had this discussion with Duke before, and I cannot remember. I cannot remember for the life of me what it is.
Well, that's annoying.
And I'm sure his teammates who are here in chat. I know James and Rich are there, but I'm sure one of them probably remembers because I knew it. I've asked them before, and I haven't had to bring it up again in a while. So
Leviticus going immediately back here to the sick kid to check right after getting the bottle out of the ice.
Ooh, yeah.
Rod Cave and picks up a Master Sword, which could be required for a certain trip to the wizard.
Yeah, that's a good call there on Leviticus's part, getting the check out of the way. Of course, with the flute makes it a heck of a lot easier to do. I think we're going to see him just go right up into... Oh, he's trying to get the spin dash on the stair. Yeah, there he goes. There you got it. Nicely done.
Took a little while to get it, but we now get it, so that way we can run our way into Eastern. And Duke Firebird, forgetting that it's faster to actually flute to 8 than it is to actually run the way over that one screen. So just as a question that was popping up about this mode is Casual Boots, which is a standard 7-7 defeat Ganon seed. So therefore, it's not all dungeons, it's not fast Ganon or anything of that nature, but the end goal is you still need to get the 7 crystals to get yourself into Ganon's tower, and then defeat that in order to defeat Ganon.
Absolutely. It's always always a favorite. Ooh, and the water walk there for Duke. So we're going to get some extra checks on this side, it looks like.
Yep, and the way it looks like Duke Firebird is setting it up is that's good knowledge there to find out what we have on the island. So we're going to be heading on over towards the hobo first. And then I wonder if what we're going to do next, because we're not going to be able to dash our way over towards Zora.
No, it's a big 20. Well, first we're going to get a save and quit, but I think
Yeah.
we both knew that.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see where this goes.
Yeah, and if he's going to do another water walk, you'd have to go back into He's going to have to go back into the 8, go back into Ice Rod Cave. He's not going to do that. He will get the Master Sword coming up here in just a moment. Now, we just found a book here inside of this Eastern Palace, which admits us into a dungeon that we can beat.
Yes, it is. It's a pendant dungeon, but you might need to dive into those. I know chat's already talking about, is it ped time maybe? I believe we've already had one ped seed on the main SpeedGaming channel earlier. So JP is saying, can't have a second one today. Well,
yes, we can.
Sometimes the universe says no.
You can't always get what you want. That's straightforward seeds.
Right.
When this game wants to give you bad seeds, it gives you them all at once. Now, Duke Firebird's going to actually be checking the Sahasrah's back area here to find out what we have. And interestingly enough, if it turns out to be that the bow's back here, that means that Leviticus made a little bit of a routing misfortune. But so far, we found 40, 60, all reds.
Yep.
Also, Thieves Town was our green pendant.
Yes, indeed. A little bit.
That's
of
unfortunate.
It looks like Leviticus is going over right now to check all this out, and we'll find that.
It's more the fact that was the bow. That means that's now a double dip of Eastern that Leviticus was setting up for, although it's now looking like that's going to actually be a double dip required. Now, the worst thing about having Thieves Town be the green pendant is that it's a dungeon that really doesn't require a whole lot. It just requires Dark World access plus a hammer, depending on where that small key turns out to be.
Yep, so it's going to be really interesting to see if we get a situation where somebody goes in and explores it. Now, Leviticus is going to follow the breadcrumb trail here and
good decision.
Decided to go ahead and check Desert Palace. Maybe there's an item in there that you could need. Of course, the other book checks are not going to be in play right now. Actually both requiring you to be able to go into the Dark World and then back to the Light World to get there. Given what we've got right now, we can't take the East Death Mountain bypass to get around Spectacle Rock.
Leviticus finding out that we just have the map in that map chest, how vanilla. And we're going to get the small key on the torch, how vanilla.
I was going to say, hey, Rick, you know what's nice about Casual Boots Desert Palace? It's never boots locked for you.
I mean, it still could be.
No, maybe, but it's not likely to be. There's the big key.
It's not in its vanilla chest.
Nope. There's the map.
Oh, I thought... never mind. I got them mixed up. Never mind.
Yeah, we could... Yeah, reading pet is an option, so I guess if you want to go a little bit out of the way to do that right now and see if you even have to worry about it being a pet seed, maybe that's a play you could make, but I don't feel like that's going to be one that we'll see either runner go for quite yet. Maybe if they get Dark World access and they're missing something and they go to Skull Woods, maybe then. Ooh, red boomerang.
Yay, red boomerang. Just exactly what you want to see instead of a pendant dungeon. It's an item that you don't need to beat the game.
So yeah, you might notice right now, Duke is still kind of going through the dungeon that Leviticus has completed. So it might look like at this point that Leviticus is definitely in the lead here. But yeah, very early, and a lot of the difference here we'll see is kind of this divergence, and you really don't get an idea of who's in the lead either unless one of two things happens. One, somebody makes a mistake, and it's a very obvious mistake on our behalf. They won't really know until the game's done with that they've made a mistake. Or number two, we usually don't know who's kind of in the lead until they get some kind of convergence here, when the path becomes very clear and very linear where you need to go. So it's going to be interesting here to see which direction everybody heads and what they're going to be doing. And of course, we got ourselves the Lamolas fight.
I've never ever thought about doing the south of the room strats that you just saw Leviticus do.
Ooh.
That gives us a little bit more to do on the mountain. That is going to be a pretty solid find here at the end. We're going to the mountain.
Absolutely, and breadcrumbs was the correct decision here because we're going to get the mirror out of that. So definitely, as you said, Rick, we're going up to the mountain. Both runners. Duke will be heading up there shortly upon completion of Desert Palace. Leviticus going to go do the obvious thing here, go get the old man out. This dark room, when you start out as a runner, it's kind of intimidating, but you very quickly learn that all you have to do is kind of glide along the wall, and you figure out how to get through.
Yeah, you just have to worry about that one pit that's right there in the middle. And if you know where that pit is, then you can just navigate around it almost every single time. The interesting thing is when you don't have a sword is just trying to figure out interesting ways to figure out where you are. Hookshot helps, the boomerang helps, using arrows, bomb strats help too. Nice half magic off the old man.
Yeah, it's always intimidating when you have to do dark rooms first. There's very few rooms in A Link to the Past, as I've commentated and played myself. You learn there's very few dark rooms that are actually truly difficult. There's a couple that are like really bad, and you would probably prefer to either have a lot of practice doing them or just have the lamp or some light source. Nothing really in Spectacle Rock either.
Yeah. Obviously, one of the hardest ones to deal with is the Misery Mire, the one that you have to lay down the cane block onto it because of the fact that you've got to deal with those shooters going after you as well. Now, before we go into the Tower of Hera, we do have another check because of that Master Sword. Is that required to get what's off the ether? No.
I don't think, especially for the
wow! Just enough of a hole to get by it.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna get dead rock there for a moment, and I was like, "Oh, that's a bit of a bummer." But nope.
As we welcome in a brand new audience that was watching over on SpeedGaming, welcome to the Link to the Past Randomizer Season 4. This is the Week 3 Casual Boots mode, and we're going downstairs in the Tower of Hera, so we got a little more time to talk about it. We have the Immortals versus Boomer Friendly, Duke Firebird versus Leviticus. Both teams still trying to score their first win of the season.
Absolutely. Hello, Raiders. Glad you're here. Of course, there's the mirror for Duke, so that's the key item that we need to be able to get up to Tower of Hera.
But what for, we don't know at this point in time.
Right. We know there's something, but we don't know what that something is. And there we go. There's a nice little coffee break at the end there for Leviticus. Just positioning yourself on the blue pegs just right so that you basically get infinite iframes. And there we go.
Get through the room. Now just light the 4 torches, get the big key, and you're heading upstairs.
Stalfo's trying to get in the way, but vaporized. Oh.
And we're just going to get ourselves a fresh set of health at this point, apparently, as Leviticus takes the Death Award.
Yeah, the red boomerang was in the big chest at Desert Palace. For folks in chat who are wondering.
That was the one item that we did not need. The big item that it seems like we need at this point is that mirror. All right, we're getting... Well, I guess we were going to go through that door, but unfortunately Leviticus is falling down, and we'll have to... At least the enemies stay out of this room once you clear this room, so that's a good thing.
And at least it's not too big of a fall, so you just basically fall down and go back up the stairs. Little walk of shame, but happens to the best of us.
Absolutely, for sure. And so we're going to get up here. Once again, there's 2 items inside of this Tower of Hera. We don't know what those 2 items are. Could we find the first one here? Nope. Well, that means the next 2 chests we open are going to be those items. I think we got ourselves the bomb jump set up properly. There we go. And there's our boots. So how do we know those were the boots in Nihon Tiger? The other pendant is Swamp Palace.
Ooh, yes.
Oh gosh, where could that hook shot turn out to be? Also, the 5-6 and Snow Pod was one of them. Skullwoods being the other one. So how do we know that that was the boots?
I believe because it was a green 20, wasn't it?
That's correct, which is what takes the place of the boots here in this mode.
Yes, so you'll see.
There we go.
There's my hammer. There we go. That's
Gets us over to the other side of the mountain, which is the big thing. That opens up 8 potential items now.
Mm-hmm. Paradox Cave and all those other fun checks over there. Spiral Cave. So that's a nice find. Obviously, you wanna have something that gives you.
And that now means that mirror was 100% needed.
Yep, so this is looking like a pretty linear... Oh, no, a little bit of a dead rock problem there. So he's going to do the Spiral Cave. Leviticus is going to do Spiral Cave instead. I like this way. You know, he can't go over and check the other side, so... Or maybe it was just a check up to the floating island to see what was up there.
Yeah, it was the check of the floating island, which was a heart container.
Yes.
Because the way this route is, you're going to finish with the paradox, and depending on what you find there, you leave and you float away.
Yep. So we gotta be expecting Moon Pearl to show up at some point here. Just looking at what we still need for Dark World access. That's the red flag right now.
If this turns out to be the lamp, then we have a better chance that this is going to be an AGA-required seed to get the Dark World access. With the hopes that the Moon Pearl is on the pyramid. Because there's not much else we can do besides that at that point.
I hear those King Zora chants starting to fire up here if this is a bust in Paradox Cave.
Oh, there it is. Pearl right there. So now, if you are one of these runners, you want to see the Tinesmith show up, because then you can get a few more checks up here in the mountain, but we're not going to get that. We do get our first medallion, and there is the save and quit for Leviticus. We have our Dark World access, and we will probably flute to 3 and start top down.
I think that's a pretty good call. But yeah, that's the seed so far, just based on item locations and what we've gotten. It's fairly linear and fairly chained together here, I guess you could say.
Oh, Duke Firebird getting hit down that middle hole, having to fall down 2 floors.
Yeah.
That's a little bit more time that Duke Firebird gives up here to Leviticus.
Yeah, I was gonna say, was Leviticus gonna go check, just do a really quick ped check? No, it's just gonna.
No,
I was figuring, was he gonna do the
you
check before doing that? But
no,
no.
you do it after you do while you're doing Schoolwoods.
Oh yeah, that's correct. Heck, I
Although
even mentioned that earlier, so I'm sorry.
Leviticus now finding out that Schoolwoods is a crystal. Now,
He's going for it.
2 items keep us away from the pedestal at this point. Those 2 items being the flippers and the hookshot. Oh no, Duke falling down again.
Yeah, he's having some tough. He's trying to bomb jump across that gap, I think, and just
Yeah.
just having a little bit of rough go of it. Unfortunately, it is tricky to set those up. Boots lets you do it a little bit safer. You have a little bit more of a buffer with the way that you set up the bomb jumps across those square gaps. In fact,
Yep.
we probably even see it here from Leviticus if we have to check big chests, because there's a similar bomb jump you'll do here for the big chest in Skull Woods.
Well, the other thing is that if you walk up to the edge of the pit and then let go of your sword, and then it will and push the opposite button of the pit, it will stop you.
Yep.
But that's a thing that a lot of runners don't even know, is that you can try to set it up at a perfect spot. It takes a little bit of practice, but that's the way it works. And we see Duke Firebird now taking this the safe route after falling down that hole twice. And because those green 20s, it's probably not exactly what you want to find after having to do this twice.
Yeah, well, half magic's going to be very helpful here. That was a super helpful get from the old man, because we're otherwise on 6 hearts, Master Sword, Mothula
On green mail.
Yep. Yes.
Nice magic
Painful.
refill.
Yes, very nice magic refill. Going to be coming handy here as we drop down.
Oh, come on. You got this. There you go, Duke. Good job.
Nicely done.
All right.
Ooh. Oh,
Mothula fight coming up here for Leviticus. Get away from that top right corner. Having a little bit of issue now, starting to get spiked. Needs to control your cool.
Yeah, he's got to be careful when he gets these shots in, too, because you're seeing Mothula.
That's a tough one to take. That's a 2-heart damage.
Yeah, Mothula's eating about.
Oh
no! Oof.
Right in, tackled for the kill. Yikes.
Will
Leviticus go back in? Yes.
Yeah, I think he's got to give it another shot here. But I was saying, Rick, I was about to say, it looks like Mothula was just hovering over those spikes and eating a couple of those fire rod shots too. So that's absolutely not what you want to have happen, because if you damage Mothula while the spikes are while he's over the spikes, it negates the damage. So you're basically doing nothing. And it's frustrating.
It's the way the game was made, is the fact that they wanted the spikes to negate the damage that Mothula would take, which is also the reason why that in the vanilla, the gold sword does nothing against Mothula.
Same damage value. So,
all right, round number 2. Got to take it easy, take it safe. Would be a good time to get a spin there at the very beginning. That's tempered sword damage if you're able to do so. Takes a bop there from Mothula. Mothula cooperated that time. Gets you a piece of heart. All right, crystal pickup for Leviticus, where we'll check to see what the pedestal is after we're done with this. Nice triple kill all at the same time there for Duke Firebird. And we are not checking the pedestal. I'm not so certain about that one. You've got 2 pendants that are clearable, and you're 2 items away from having that third one being a possibility. I'm surprised at this early stage. That knowledge could have been big. We'll see if that turns out to be something a little bit later on. But we'll get to the front first.
There's that big key, so I think we'll see that bomb jump. Yep, he's already got the bombs out, so we'll see that this is the bomb jump we talked about.
Yep,
Now,
and perfect setup right there. They spin.
yes. Yep. There's also a variation of that where you can just kind of bonk across, and it's a little safer to set up. Like I mentioned, there's a little bit more wiggle room. Now, of course, the difference here with the jump at Skull Woods is that pit is a damage pit. You don't fall down to another floor, so you get
blue mail and that red goo is going to come in handy here for Duke Firebird.
Yeah,
Nothing that's required, but they still will come in handy.
Right, those are some nice utility pickups there. Gonna be kind of helpful, especially. Oh, and Kate the Samaria. Holy cow! Ooh. Okay, that's big.
Here's a question though: did we get both items out of this? No, yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. Mothra dropped the second item. That's good. Okay, we're done.
Yep, we're clear from here, and I think Leviticus is just going down to Village of Outcasts to do all this stuff. Probably do a dip into Thieves Town. Usually we'll see people do first floor because there's 3 items locked away in there. So,
and that's the other reason why I'm curious about the red mail there for Duke Firebird. That's why the other reason why I'm curious about the decision not to check the pedestal, because this tells you whether or not you need to dive all the Thieves Town or not.
Right, because if it's ped required, or if it's a green pendant turn-in item, which you won't know from checking ped, but if it's one of those two situations and you don't go in just full clear of this dungeon, you're coming back here and you're doing that, and it's going to be really frustrating.
All right, we'll see how Leviticus decides to do this, probably based on how many items you get out of the first 4. And we find an item in the first. We find an item in the second, so we have at least 2 items in the first 4. That's usually where you get the I need to make a decision mark.
Yes. I was gonna say, if you get 2 items in the first 4, there's a key coming up somewhere, because you need the big key to be able to get to the back, and then it kind of becomes, okay, do I decide to dip out from the get-go? Well, there we go.
So we know we are getting the big key in this 4th chest. 2 items in the back, and it looks like Leviticus is going for it.
Mm-hmm. Don't have to worry too much about money here for Duke, because we have so much of it. Doing a digging game, seeing what we can find. Shovel's actually up in the village, but right now for Duke, it's only going to be one extra check. It can be the Stumpy check. Well, the dig spot check for the flute by Stumpy.
Mm-hmm.
And
20 rupees, the prize for the digging game. Nothing extravagant there. Now Duke Firebird's going to go into the Dark World on the other side.
Yes. And you need to be able to lift the big rocks to be able to get across through the Dark World, so you have to mirror on out and go in through the other portal. Because we don't have Titan Smith to lift the big dark colored rocks.
That is an item that we definitely will need for Go Mode. And that is one of the items that also could very well be on the pedestal, too.
Ooh, that's
item number 3, Blue Goo.
Yeah, so one of the things to keep in mind, because we have Green Pendant in this dungeon, there's technically a 5th item that is in this, which you get from the Green Pendant turn-in. At least if you were racing this seed, you would calculate that as a 5th item in your mind. So
extra weight towards finishing this dungeon out.
Mm-hmm. Because you're pretty much at this point, you're going to have to go down there and check for that last item anyways. And the blind fight is nothing too difficult for either of these runners once you know the pattern, which they both do. Plus, you've got the hammer, so you can actually, if you need to go check big chest, you can go check that right now.
It all depends if we get the small key, which we do.
Yep.
And obviously, with it either being the map or the 4th item, you're going to have to check this. And it turns out to be a heart container. That's the fourth item. Nothing inside of this Thieves Town, at least in the dungeon. But that green pendant turn-in does loom large.
Yes, it does.
So what else do we have available to us at this point? We do, of course, mentioned before, we have King Zora. We have the Pyramid, we have Campfish, but we don't know what we have available to us inside of the Palace of Darkness based on the current layout.
Right, we're still looking for a bow, possibly, especially depending on if we're bow locked in that dungeon or not. We need a bow to complete the dungeon, but we also may need it to even get more than one chest check in.
Solid boss fight there for Leviticus, and solid boss fight right there for Duke Firebird.
Very nicely done, both runners there.
So you're gonna probably see Leviticus go ahead and swap positions here to the point where they're gonna do the digging game. Though the big difference here is Leviticus, once they are done with this village of outcasts, make their way over towards Stumpy, they will be able to check the shovel, which is something that Duke Firebird was unable to do.
Correct. Yeah, of course we don't have the. Oh, actually, we're gonna
Magic Pot Bat. Yes.
Yeah. I was like thinking, like I see Leviticus going over there, and there's only one check that they can do right now, which would be Magic Bat.
I actually forgot about that. And Duke Firebird is not checking the pedestal either. All right, so it's going to be a secret to us all. What is up there as Leviticus does the Magic Bat, and we find the Magic Bat gives us, what is it?
Hope. Disappointment. just the 20 rupee.
Those ceiling masters are annoying, aren't they?
Oh, the wall masters? Yeah, they're particularly nasty, especially because the fact that the way that the game handles layer transfers, if you fall into the Mothula boss fight hole at the wrong time and a wall master comes down and grabs you, you can get yanked all the way back to the start.
And usually you have to do a nice little salty run back at that point.
I almost feel like in that situation you'd rather die to Mothula and have to go back and do it again, because at least you tried there.
All right, so we are going to see Leviticus making their way into K45 to find that single rupee, as Duke Firebird's about to get the Cane of Samaria. Now, here's an important check coming up here, because for Duke Firebird, this shovel is going to be kind of a rough spot to get back to. But it turns out just to be a bee in a bottle. Try saying that 10 times fast.
Yes, indeed. So we have bottle. We have bottle no mode. We know where all the bottles are.
Yes, we do. And we also have a little bit of a divergence also. The fact that Duke Firebird is going to be checking two spots that we did not see from Leviticus, which are in logic. Graveyard Ledge and King's Tomb.
Yes, indeed. We also got the Bumper Cave Ledge check, which we did see is just 10 arrows. And Leviticus now going and doing Hit Cave. And we'll pick up that last bottle. Blue mail. And the last little piece of heart.
All right, Duke Firebird finding a heart container on Graveyard Ledge. Leviticus trying to decide what they want to do and has now come to the conclusion that I'm going to go ahead and check the Bombos tablet. Now, we know that the Bombos tablet's going to be the red mail.
Yes, but of course we have the as I like to refer to it. We have the God vision. We're seeing everything from up above, and we know everything. Those guys don't. There's the flippers. Wow, that's a good find there from Duke. A great little divergence has paid off. Flippers is a fantastic get.
Those who are pulling for Duke Firebird, that could very well be something. As those flippers do open up a few more checks that we haven't seen already.
Yeah.
And we're heading for a few of them right now.
I was gonna say, is Duke gonna do catfish, waterfall Zora? Because that's not a bad idea when you get those flips. And just based on where you found them, it makes a lot of sense. Get these out of the way, especially if there's something of value up here. Catfish is a killer for runs because he's usually so far out from everything else. He's so easy just to isolate and leave till like a late check. If there's something good here, nope. Not this time, but I've seen hook shots, bows, go mode items, all kinds of stuff show up there that you need to be able to beat this game, and nothing in the waterfall cave either. Yeah, catfish can be absolutely killer if it's just unfortunate for you, but not today, thankfully. Duke will have not a whole lot from that, but peace of mind. Could be something here on Zora Ledge too. Just a piece of heart.
Just a piece of heart, so nothing that we need. And we're about ready to get that green pendant turn-in from Leviticus, which is also something.
I'm just about to say he's making that move to go do green pendant turn-in to pod.
All right. Zora's just 50 rupees, a 10% rebate, and a shield from Sahaswala.
Everybody loses. Yay! There's just double check of some off the beaten path locations, and nothing was found.
And it looks like both of these runners are going to be joining each other inside of the Palace of Darkness. So if Leviticus finds something, and I keep bringing it up, but if that hookshot's here, that makes Swamp Palace a more lucrative play.
That it does. That would be... Oh, what is it? Small key. Well, we're not bow locked, so we will venture deeper into House of Darkness. But that's a great point that you bring up there, Rick. If we get hookshot here, that's going to be huge news for Duke, because that means you can go do Swamp Palace, and it probably would be the next play. Otherwise, I think Ice Palace now is also well within logic for Duke, so that's a distinct possibility here if Pod ends up turning up nothing.
All right, Vanilla Big Key Chest is a map. That's the first of the two items that are not small keys in this first area of the Palace of Darkness. Okay, we get a key here, and it looks like Leviticus is not going to be opting to do any bottle glitches with the mimics, so we're heading to the back.
Oh, yep, and just a quick reminder, you need the second mitt, so we'll be looking for that as well before we go in Ice Palace.
And those mitts, again, could very well be on the pedestal. I don't want to make it sound like I'm really harping on this being a ped seed, but the thing is, with what we have right now, we're just a hookshot away from having the pedestal be in logic.
That's a good point.
And there's the ice rod. There's a medallion that we could need to get into either Turtle Rock or Misery Mire that could be there. The bow could be on the pedestal.
Yep, basically anything can be on ped as long as it's not needed to get these ped dungeons cleared out. Ugh.
Nothing good behind the mimics or behind the potion glitch.
Nope.
Yeah, the mimics is exactly what I meant to say. Just 10 bombs. Armless Hellway has the big key. We're out of logical checks inside of this dungeon, by the way.
And there we are. And now we get to see the scare. This is really, I think, the scariest room in the game that's not actually too scary once you know what you're doing, which is the Dark Maze. What's nice about it really is that everything stays in the same spot. There's a piece of heart in the top left chest. There's a second chest in the bottom right. Maze pattern always stays the same. There's some Kadongos that run around and shoot fire. You have to worry about. Yeah, other than that, it's once you kind of have an idea of where you need to go and basically how to get through the maze in the dark, it's not too bad.
Nihan?
Yes.
You mean you're supposed to see this?
Yeah. Technically, yes, but for the most part, runners usually don't have lamps, so they usually don't see this. This is the common A Link to the Past randomizer Dark Maze experience is seeing people go through it without the...
Oh!
Well.
That's an item.
It is an item. Nice rod.
Doesn't do anything.
No.
But it's an item that you don't want to be searching for later in this game.
Yeah, it's Ice Rod quest, Ice Rod fetch, Ice Rod search quest is not happening, nor is Ice Rod fetch quest apparently. I mean, it's nice for Turtle Rock. We still need to have the right medallion, which we may or may not have right now. And we also need the Titan's Myths to be able to get up there, to be able to get through the big old rock that's in the way. Yeah, that's that's good to have now, so you're not looking for it later.
Alright, Leviticus about to get the small key and the 10 bombs. Well, technically 2 bombs.
Get the 10 bombs, the small key, and a dip out. That's what we're gonna get.
Alright, where's our next destination here for Leviticus? Because here's the thing, the flippers right now seem to be a bottleneck.
Good question.
Alright, we're heading back into the Dark World. This could be that north check here for Leviticus.
I think that's probably what it is, Rick. I think it's the one that makes the most sense. You can get to it, so you just when you're a runner, you're sitting here, you're thinking, what can I do now? Because time is my enemy, and I need to be able to make checks, even if they're fruitless checks. Make checks, get them off the board, do it now. And like you said, those North Hyrule checks, Graveyard Ledge, King's Tomb, they make too much sense. You don't want to leave stuff like that behind here. So we're probably seeing Leviticus going to make a sharp right out of left, actually, because make another left and make a right, and yep.
We're going to be checking Bumper Ledge first, and we already know that it is just 10 arrows. We know what Leviticus is going to be finding in just a few moments with the flippers. Now, one thing to bear in mind here for Leviticus is that they did not check the Zora area just yet. They're probably going to do it the same way that we saw Duke Firebird doing it, and that is by way of going to Catfish first and then checking the Zora area, at least the Zora area, and then probably the other flipper checks soon after that.
Yep, I think that's probably it. And Duke's going to go ahead and run back the checks that we saw from Leviticus, which were... Oh, and Duke actually going to mirror out, go back to Light World.
We're fluting away. Are we fluting to 4? We are fluting to 3, and we are maybe... Yep, with the hammer out, we're going to go to Thieves Town.
Yes, indeed. And those flippers about to show up for Leviticus. There we go.
All right. Leviticus, fluting, thinking, fluting, thinking, 8.
Hobo check to start, I think. Hobo and check the island as well. And then maybe this is a route down to take the portal to go to Zora. kind of maybe that's the logic I think I'm seeing here. Is you go up, you do this. This is when you have this early game, and you have enough fruit pieces. This is something you see quite frequently as well.
Yeah, go to do the hobo first, and then on that little shallow water, you flew back to 8, and then head to Zora.
Yep. So for those of you that were hoping for things to converge a little bit, we're kind of getting to that point, I think, where we're getting to Convergent Town.
Yes, we are. All right. So here's the flute to 8 and jump into the water. Looks like Duke Firebird is going to be heading to do the magic bat check here. And then the question is, what do we do next? Probably, like, Thieves Town is probably the obvious play here for Duke Firebird based on where he is. That's unfortunate, more out of the fact that Leviticus has already done that. And for all we know, Swamp could be the answer to get us further into this seed.
So actual question from chat about TR access. It was quick. How much of TR can be checked? Well, right now we can't even get into TR because we need the second mid upgrade, the Titan's mid, to be able to get there. In theory, if we had that, we could go through and clear the whole dungeon based on what we've got. And so really, yeah, it seems like they're kind of being shoved to go to Swamp Palace.
Yep, that's exactly what it appears to be me here. As the Leviticus, after doing all of the checks, we have one other check that could be something. But we are not checking it just yet. And that is Spike Cave. But this here seems to be the bigger play right now. Going into Swamp Palace. And this, I'm seeing the body language of the his teammates sitting on the bench here, watching this go along here for Duke Firebird, and they're just hoping, beyond hope, that maybe he could make a move that keeps him somewhat ahead in the checks that Leviticus is, but unfortunately, destination Thieves Town.
Yeah, I think I see the logic behind doing this. I think,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's that green pendant. You want to make sure that it's not that turn in, or it's something deep in there. So yeah, we're gonna see him go ahead and complete this. Again, it's for him, and it's gonna be just a dungeon to check off. And who knows? Maybe it is PED, and this is something you have to do anyways.
Yeah, and the fact is you're getting 4 items inside of Thieves Town plus the other 4 items you get around town. That makes 8 items versus this Swamp Palace, which in a runner's mind, you could maybe come away with only 2 items in here.
Yep. That's chat. Chat was asking about Spike Cave logic. Is it within logic? It is right now because we have boots. If we have the potions to go with that as well, then yeah, we can just kind of run to the end. But lots of opportunities here in Swamp Palace.
And I'll tell you what, if we find mids inside of this Swamp Palace, hello, Divergence.
Yes, that's going to go ahead and open things back up again.
But if this turns out to be something small, like for instance, if this turns out to be like a bow, or I mean, even at this point, the hookshot's not all that big of a deal, except for it gets you to the back of this dungeon.
Yeah, if it's not in the front, if it's not in these front checks, we know hookshot's not in here. That's all we can say. And we know it's not in Eastern Palace because we've already found all the items in Eastern Palace. So I kind of get the feeling it's going to be bow if it shows up here, because I think bow opens up more. It's a big key.
That is a big key to a chest that is right around the corner.
Right.
And is this vanilla? No. It is a compass. All right, the last 2 checks we have in this dungeon will take us probably about a minute or so to get here, so I want to be sure that you all know to follow these 2 runners, Duke Firebird and Leviticus, and also Shout out to Nihan Tiger, my commentary partner, and Akuaish doing the clicking. Make those icons appear on your screen here on Speed Gaming 2.
Just to bring up something real quick here, before it maybe gets overwritten, depending on what we find. Keep on stage asking if it's hookshot. If we find hookshot in Swamp Palace, do you check pet after clearing Swamp Palace? If you don't find anything more in here, yeah, that's absolutely the first thing you go do. You go check that because your bow is probably there.
Because what the hookshot opens up, if you don't get anything else here, is nothing.
Yep. So if it's hookshot in here, then you have to have something on pet, and it's probably, my guess would be a bow to get you into completing pod in Eastern Palace.
Honestly,
or it could be the mitts too.
Honestly,
actually.
I don't think it could be the bow at this point. If we've already exhausted our checks inside of Eastern, and right now Palace of Darkness is out of logic because we don't have the lamp.
That's a good point too. Yeah, it could be mitts and lamp and stuff could also be on. That'd be weird. Have it be lamp head, and that's required by logic. That would be
all right. Here we go.
Okay.
First check, left side swamp. There's our mitts.
Mitts. Okay. Yep. And Leviticus can go ahead and check the other one just to be sure.
You have to, otherwise you're setting yourself up for a long walk back if this turns out to be something that you need to beat this seed later on.
Right. You need to make sure it's nothing of value. You just have to get that out of your mind.
Okay, here is the answer.
Bombs.
3 bombs. That's
All
it.
right.
We're done. How many items did we find in there? That was 3 items.
I think 3, yeah.
So there's 3 items in the back that we have no access to at this point in time.
Yep.
Now, what do the mitts open up for us? I think we're seeing one answer here.
Yep. Ice Palace Misery Mire area. Maybe not necessarily the dungeon, but you can at least get over there and check.
So again, the mitts were the biggest thing because the mitts, what the mitts really do is it allows for more of a divergence. If this turns into be a linear path, like for instance, if that was both the lamp and the bow back there, then we're back to linearity and back into pod we go.
Yep.
But at least what this does is it allows for us to maybe have choices that the runners might make, which might make it one decision over the other that determines who will come away with the victory in this match.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you can still make some interesting choices here. If we go check Misery Mire and its Quake access, you can probably go in there and do that. Especially with boots, you can just boots bonk across the gap. You've got everything else you need, so it's certainly not a situation where that's out of logic either. And of course, you got the checks that are over there too that we haven't even seen yet.
So the main divergence is here. You have Ice Palace. You have the Mire area, which is a potential of up to 5 items. You have the Breadsmith chain. You have Dark Death Mountain with the potential of getting multiple items. And for all we know, Turtle Rock could be open to us.
It could be, yeah. With the mitts, it does open up. And we're seeing Leviticus set up the icebreaker. Nicely done.
Nice job. Bufferless too, with a key on the right-hand side. So this is another thing we're going to be keeping an eye on, is what's over here on this right side, because this could technically be hookshot blocked. All right, 1 small key and a compass. I don't think that's enough to make that hookshot blocked. This dungeon, that is. Piece of Heart. That's the second item of this dungeon. Wise thinking, though, by the way, of Leviticus, remembering that because they don't have the hook shot, they have to drop down onto the big chest. Ooh, this is not good right now. At least we had the red mail, because those things don't hurt quite as hard, but having those freeze wars right on top of you is not a fun time at all. Duke Firebird's probably at this point about a minute away from getting the mitts.
Where's Ether?
Ooh, that's an interesting find.
Of course, we still have many questions abound on, what do we even need to get into our two medallion locked dungeons? Heck, maybe both of them have bombos, and we haven't found it anyways. This game is just mean.
Yeah, this game is mean. It does that all the time, Neon Tiger. You known this, I known this.
Yep.
I think about 300 people that are watching this on SpeedGaming 2 and the hundreds of people that watch the VOD on YouTube later. Hi, by the way.
Hello.
If you heard that comment, just put the word popcorn in the comment section. Also be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you. Bye.
Indeed. We're seeing a nice cold stare right. Oh, Leviticus actually not getting the doesn't have to worry too much about it with the fire rod, but wasn't able to get the 3 cold stare puffballs all in the corner there, so just gonna be careful.
Decision time now for Duke Firebird. Does he go the same direction as Leviticus? Looks like yes. Solid end to that fight for Leviticus. That's not an easy fight when you have lost control of it, at least to getting it into the corner. But held the cool. Didn't really take any damage either. That's a solid fight in my book.
Pretty solid fight. I'm really interested to see where Leviticus decides to go next.
Do we flute to 6?
My gut tells me
yes, we do.
Yeah. Maximum number of checks is over here. So go to where you can do the most good. At least for your run. And is
Bombos. You got part of your wish. That's an evil laugh coming from you.
Well, not a true evil laugh. But yeah, that's oh,
there's our bow.
Hey, there we go. He's not under the mat this time, but the bow is. So
well, it still could be underneath. It still could be under the mat.
Well, underneath the rock, the fake rock that's next to the mat.
Hey, Hyrule used different doormats in different locations.
I think we need to have a talk with.
Oh, there it is.
It is. Wow. I was gonna say I think we need to have a talk about them using rocks as doormats. Not the most efficient thing to do, but hey, there's Mombos. Amazing that it was right there.
So I have a bigger concern at this point, Neon Tiger. First of all, the pedestal is dead for all that the hype that we brought to it, and the fact that neither of these runners checked it. The second, if either of these runners could hold arm bounce or do the hovering thing, that would be go mode.
It would be. Also, apologies for killing Pad, but not sorry.
But this makes for an interesting scenario. Now, obviously, we have to try to figure out what that logic was in Ice Palace, with the key being in the big key chest, in the Pentagator room, and on Cold Stare. What did that mean as far as the hookshot in Ice Palace?
That's a good point. I just keep wondering now if hookshot's in the bad place.
And that would be a very interesting story.
Yes.
So we are being confirmed that Cold Stare was hookshot locked.
Yep. So yeah, maybe it is in the bad place. Which, for those who are wondering about why I'm referring to it, the bad place, hookshot in Hookshot Cave in the Bonkable Chest. It's the bad place because I lost the tournament match because it was there. Badly. It's a really tricky place. You can get over to that first Bonkable Chest with the boots, which would have been in logic once our runners had East Death Mountain Dark World access. So,
you know what I think would be the worst place at this point for that hook shot?
Uh-oh. I think I have a feeling, but...
Well, what do you think I'm thinking?
Pyramid Fairy?
Actually, that would be another bad location for it. That really would be another bad location for it.
I thought another bad one. Oh, goodness.
I was thinking the breadsmith chain. Neither of these runners are going back to the village to do that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's another good one. We got a lot of bad locations for this hook shot, so... Ooh.
Nice sword location, though.
Yes, indeed.
But yeah, I'm thinking the breadsmith chain because neither of these runners have any reason to go back to the village at this point in time. That's a good, crazy sprite there. The fact he was putting the block as long as he was.
Yep. So a question about logic. Logic is indeed based on where the items are in the game as they've been rearranged. So there's certain logic that there's certain items that you need to have logically to get into certain spaces. And when we talk about going in and out of logic, there are different skips that these runners can do, and we see them do things like fake flippers or icebreaker, and the game does not intend for you as you're solving the puzzle of where all the items are and how to get to them.
But the main question here is whether or not, starting with the boots, put the boot checks or that one sword that we have, put that into logic either.
Right. So yeah, a lot of those checks are basically logic checks are basically, okay, what can you get to based on what you have in your inventory at the time, and usually if you've never played this before, you can get a spoiler log with the game if you go to the ALTTPR randomizer page and go through the whole process of creating a seed. And if you ever see what the spoiler log says, it'll actually lay out kind of a intended path, I guess you could say, for how the seed should play out. And it's not always what you might think makes the most sense, but it makes sense to how everything is laid out logically within the game itself.
All right, we're gonna have to take a look at Leviticus as we get ourselves disappearing in the dark room. How well does Leviticus do this room? Goes to the door strap.
Yep.
Gets it. Nice job.
Nicely done. There's a couple of setups for that block throw that are not too bad once you get used to it, but they can be a little tricky. That specific block throw is really finicky. Rick, you mentioned earlier the fireballs being shot at you. It's also a matter of the placement of the block. It's very, very specific where it needs to be, and if it's even a little bit off of that location, it'll actually pop up, even though it shows that the block is covering the switch.
Duke Firebird going into this misery mire as well. We'll see how much Duke Firebird pursues the remainder of this seed. We still need to finish off Pod and Eastern. Those are back to back. We know we're not going to find a lamp in neither of those dungeons, because I think we've already found all 3 items inside of Eastern Palace, and there's a matter of going through dark rooms in order to get to the Helmisar King.
Yes, indeed, and we're going to see the boss fight here from Leviticus.
NMG style fight so far. Pretty solid start. Getting things under control. Down to 5 hearts. Still in a decent spot. There we go. Beautiful. 8 arrows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Nice job.
Yep. There goes Vitreous. As a side note, we do not recommend clearing up irritated eyes with arrows. That's not the most straightforward idea, but it works. It works for the game.
You're not supposed to?
Rick, stop poking your eyes, please.
Well, now I'm going to have to cancel that order to Dick's Sporting Goods to buy some arrows from there. By the way, SpeedGaming is not sponsored by Dick's Sporting Goods.
Nope.
Although we could be tempted. Contact Fusil for more information.
There's just some random salesperson from Dick's Sporting Goods in chat tonight be like, that's a great idea.
That would be funny.
Anyways, with that bow in hand, Pod Eastern Palace back-to-back clears is on the table, and this is, I think, for Leviticus, this is definitely the right decision.
All right, so it looks like Duke Firebird is going to get that tempered sword in just a moment, which is good because that's one thing I was honestly concerned about, was whether or not he was going to skip out on this. And if he got that big key, then maybe he doesn't get this. And this would be a nice offensive equalization for Duke Firebird. Although, unfortunately, he is going to be heading over to the cutscene chest, which will lose a little bit of time here. Does need to be careful, being down to 4 hearts. You don't want to really take a death at this point. Where do you think the lamp is?
Spike Cave.
Why must you be so evil to our runners?
Spike Cave or Hookshot Cave. It's somewhere that you were able to get to a while ago, and we just weren't able to check.
All right, here we go. This is another interesting room in the dark. This room with the turtles. Now, it's not quite as difficult when you have the tempered sword, not as quite as difficult when you have the fire rod to illuminate the 2 torches in here, but when you don't have the fire rod,
oof,
it can get dangerous real fast.
Yeah, or if you don't have ether as well, yeah, this becomes a massive pain in the butt to get through that room, because you're just like hoping that you hit turtles, and you gotta kill them all to get through, so.
There's the big key pickup for Duke Firebird. We'll head on over towards Vitreous in just a moment.
Meanwhile, Helmasaur King going down like hot butter. Just melted right through there.
And the other single rupee. Item number 5 of the Palace of Darkness. The hookshot is not here. As Duke Firebird trying to do the same door strats and doesn't get it.
Yep. There we go, though. He's got it now.
Had to just adjust it just a little bit, but yeah, there we go. That's good.
Yep.
Answering the question, can either of these two hover? Well, I guess we're going to find out how well their hovering and or Moldorm bounce is going to be. If they go and continue down this path where they're dead set to go into Ganon's Tower. Because we know, based on the keys in Ice Palace, that it can't be in GT. All right. finishing off this Eastern. Now, this room can get nasty in the early part of a run because of the lack of a lamp, but when you have 11 hearts, you're a little bit better shape, and also with the tempered sword and the fire rod. Those Igors like to do 1 heart damage. That's where it can get a little interesting. Duke Firebird using the powder to get ready for this vitreous fight. Probably will go the same NMG strats here. Yep, into the goo with the tempered sword out. Spin and around, and unfortunately it looks like we've got the 7-10 split, so that's going to make it a little harder here to finish off this fight. Probably throw a couple of bow. Yep, there we go.
Yeah, single arrow shot, but bow will make this pretty simple.
Yeah, it was just more the concern of getting it to that last stage of the fight when you have the bow. It's kind of simple. All right, Armos Knight's fight here for Leviticus.
Ooh,
doesn't get the quick kill.
Yeah, I think he tried to set that up and just missed on that last shot.
Yeah, it was that last shot that really did it. All right, we're heading up to the mountain. Turtle Rock up next. And I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if Leviticus checks the 3 chests on the way.
Yep. We got 3 or 4 depending on how you want to route this. Spike Cave is 1. We got the 2 in Super Bunny Cave, and then we've also got that I told you, the evil place, that hookshot cave first bottom chest.
I don't think we're checking Spike Cave.
Probably not. I mean, that would be the one. That would be the one I would expect that if we had to skip one, would be the skippable one because it's a pain in the butt.
Because you're pretty much resolving yourself to a save and quit at that point, which basically means you're running back as well. So that's the last chance saloon for the runners as we make our way over towards the other side of the mountain.
And here we go. We're gonna get. We know that we've got whatever we need. We're gonna get a check at least of whatever we needed to get TR open.
I'm going to guess ether.
That's not a bad guess.
Survey says.
Yeah, right. Nicely done. There we go. I think we'll see Leviticus go into TR and probably get a full. We'll kind of see. I think we'll get a little bit of a hand tip here on if Leviticus is comfortable enough to do a hover or not, because it'll be interesting to see if we get a full clear check, including laser bridge, or if we see some chests skipped here. If we see kind of the quick and dirty check where it's like, okay, I'm not gonna check laser bridge because I got everything I need, then we'll probably know that there's probably a hover planned to get across the Moldorm Gap, or there's a strong bet somewhere in GT and we find it, which is not a bet I necessarily would like to make if I was a runner.
And of course, we already know that the hookshot cannot be there ourselves.
Yep.
But do they know it? That's the question. And thankfully, Leviticus remembering without the hookshot, you had to do this the long way around.
Oh, yes.
So we know one of these 2 checks is going to be a small key, but will the other one be a small key? Will it be item number 2 of this Turtle Rock? Could be the big key.
There's
a small key and the big key.
Big key. Yep.
So Chain Chomps will be a small key. I think the determining factor is, do you check Lava Chest?
I don't know. That's a good question. I think that's going to be up to individual runner choice and how confident they feel that they can skip it without having a moment where you miss something you need.
Just as a reminder, be sure to follow both of these runners, Duke Firebird, Leviticus, playing for their teams, the Immortals and Boomer Friendly. They're all playing this great league that has been put together. Some great crazy weeks ahead. including next week with a spoiler, Key Sanity, with the pilot.
That's going to be a fun run. For those of you who've never, just very quickly to talk about what all of that means. Spoiler means you have a spoiler log. Key Sanity is another game mode where the keys are added to the pool of items that can be mixed up. So you may find keys for one dungeon in another dungeon, and you kind of have to work your way around the map a little bit. And the pilot means that you'll have a teammate in the call basically helping you navigate the seed.
So it was a key for a key at Lava Chest, which tells us Leviticus's concerns at this point.
Mm-hmm. Making the safe play here and just checking everything. I think that might tip our hand a little bit. That I'm gonna guess Leviticus probably. I think I saw a comment in chat as well along these lines. I don't think Leviticus is gonna be hovering, so we're gonna get just checks all over the place here, just to be sure. You know, I don't blame him.
Absolutely.
Not a hoverer myself, so it's exactly what I would do.
I pulled off 2 Moldorm bounces ever. And that was during the main tournament qualifiers when it seemed like every seed had a pendant swamp.
Woodlawn Bounce is my favorite move on the dance floor.
Nicely application!
Wow.
All right. Well, no more dark rooms.
Yep. Hooray, no more dark room wire. Shoot.
We got one more dark room.
Yes. We do have the basement roller coaster.
Ooh, Duke Firebird losing control of the Armos here. Gonna have to go the hard way now.
Yeah. Oh, got the
still
quick kill.
gets it. Nice.
Nice recovery on that quick kill. Very nicely done. For those who are unfamiliar with the Armos Knight's quick kill, there's a very brief moment before the last knight turns red where he's still blue and you can just kill him.
All right, Duke Firebird's going to be... Okay, we're checking Sahasrahla first. That's what the game plan here is.
Yeah, I believe Leviticus will be both by choice and by necessity having to go to Laser Bridge because we still need that last key.
Well, with the mirror show, that's going to be an easy decision here.
Yes.
Almost tries to do the dash through, gets ourselves a blue rupee. We know one of these is going to be the small key. We get ourselves the compass. We get ourselves the hook shots right there. So we're for 20 minutes and 46 seconds. Leviticus officially is in go mode.
Yep, and I don't remember who said it, but somebody mentioned Laser Bridge being where they thought the hook shot would be earlier. So, whoever that was, I'm sorry I forgot who it was in chat, but good on you for knowing that was where it was going to be.
That, by the way, means that Ice Palace, if you did this game by logic, was a double dip.
What a nasty, nasty logic this was. Wow. Yeah, if you're Leviticus, you're feeling good right about now.
Yeah.
Well, if you're Leviticus and you were watching this, you would feel good right about now. If you're playing, you're probably still a little worried because you don't know how your opponent's doing. All right, well, I think it's about that time that we talk about the game. You know
the game, huh?
Yes.
All right, well, in that case, Neon Tiger, you start the spiel.
All right, well, inside of GT, there are 22 possible locations where that big key can be, 21 chests and a big old torch. So go ahead and chat and throw a number down between 1 and 22 and where you think that location is going to be. It's going to be based off of Leviticus's checks. So, Rick, what are you thinking here?
Number 4, And I'm going to say number 4 being in the Staffos room, so that made that hook shot. Oh, silvers were in the Super Bunny Cave!
Ooh, well, that's nice.
Now, if Duke
nice.
Firebird was a little closer, that would matter a little bit more, but that is quite a find.
That is a very good find. That's going to make a lot of this go by a lot quicker. Duke's actually going to go ahead and check that hookshot cave, that evil location.
Why do you keep calling it an evil location?
Like I said, I lost the race big time because the hookshot was there. I couldn't bonk across to it at the time because that was bad.
Okay, so it looks like we might be doing a Dark Magician type of route here for Leviticus. Number 1 was a blue rupee as we make our way over here to the other side. All right, hookshot is needed for this room. Blue cane, small key, small key, big key. Not number 4, but number 5.
I will say, Rick, that's some astute guessing there. Now, did you guess some of his bottom left chest?
No.
Okay.
But GG's to Toad Ray, who picked number 5 in the chat. Congratulations, you got the number exactly correct.
Absolutely. You're the one and only I got it right. There were a couple 4s and 6s there, so nice tries from everyone all around. Thanks for playing the game. And I believe I'll get you a $50 gift card to Rick's Sporting Goods. Not to be confused with any other sporting goods. This is literally just Rick having a bunch of sporting goods that he keeps in his garage. You can go pick
Excuse me? I might want a refund from that prize at this point.
Yeah, just go to his house and pick up $50 of stuff from his garage. Hey, you're fine. We'll reimburse you.
Fine. Whatever you say.
Anyways.
Yes, they do sell out around deck chairs.
Yes. We do have Leviticus going through, and
yeah, you've lost control at this point in time.
I have. Okay, Leviticus is in Gauntlet, making quick work of it. Not really a surprise.
Does need to watch out the health, but we do have the powder to powder anything that we'd like to, including but not limited to this bunny beam in this room.
Yep. Fun fact, you can actually use that to help set up the timing on the second Lamola's fight here too as well.
Now you got chat talking about Rick's Sporting Goods. Nice job.
I apologize for nothing. Anyways, up the stairs we go to the 5th floor. It is time for the most satisfying room in the game, part 1. And then we go across the little bridge and go to part 2. Of course, so called because you use the Candace Maria, make everything go poof, and you feel really good about it.
You almost had the exact timing on that one. All right. So at this point, barring anything strange happening here in the back few moments of this run, it looks like Boomer Friendly is on their way to winning their first match here in League Season 4.
Yeah, it's going to be for Boomer Friendly. That's going to be a big boost here. This is obviously game 1 of 2 between these two teams. There'll be a second game with different runners from each of the teams a little bit later on. In fact, let me check the schedule real quick, see if that's been.
It will be coming up at 2:10 tomorrow with James FNX versus Don Ben Nur.
Ooh, that's going to be a good one. That's 2 good runners. Yeah, that'll be worth checking out if that's on the stream.
To be determined.
Yes. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Well, we do have the hook shot out here for Leviticus, so no hover tonight.
For a heart container at the end.
Yeah, not a bad thing. Not a bad thing to check. You may as well check and see if it's something useful, like silver's hiding out at the end there. I've seen that before. Obviously, we know it's not there. We know it's in Super Bunny Cave.
And Leviticus will be told, did you find the silver arrows in the dark world?
Yep. and he'll have plenty of time after the Ganon fight to think about what exactly he missed. Ooh,
Well, for
double the start.
Leviticus, it's kind of simple. They didn't do Catfish, nor Pyramid Fairy, or Hammer Pegs. That's pretty much it for the Dark World, besides the Super Bunny and Hookshot Cave. Alright, that Ganon or Aga 2 is down for Leviticus. Now time to face off against Ganon.
Indeed. Nice Aga 2 fight. Got some really nice favorable placements as well. So we'll be seeing Tempered Sword Silverless Ganon here from Leviticus. A little bit different than if you have silvers, obviously, if you've never seen this. Be using sword spins instead of arrow shots to do damage to Ganon in phase 4.
There's Duke Firebird getting his go mode hook shot, and we'll get that small keyed and head on over towards the Trinex. As Leviticus now taking care of stage 2, using the hook shot and decent timing here, we'll get to stage 3 in one cycle.
Indeed, pretty favorable setup there for that phase 2. You kind of got Ganon in a nice little spot. There's a few better spots for that, but still, that bottom left corner placement was pretty good. He's getting some friendly placement here on this phase 3 as well.
Warpless too.
Wow. Yeah, it's going to be a quick fight.
Alright, did you find the silver arrows in the Dark World? As the torch goes out, we get the torch glitch, which is good for Leviticus. Now it's 12 spins to win it for his team. That is 2. We'll have to relight the torch. Has the fire rod out. That's the 3 to the top left corner for 4. Bottom left corner for 5. Halfway done almost, but we have to light the torch first before we get there. Sets up Ganon. Unfortunately, didn't get back in time. That is 6. We're halfway home. 7 over here to the top. Have to relight the torch first. He's going to wait out that fire bat. Get him set over in the bottom left corner for 7. Up to the top right for 8. Maybe a triple cycle here for 9. One more torch light, maybe. You can get a triple on this one. That's 10. Top left for 11. Nope, that's actually 12. I'm off my count. But anyways, it doesn't really matter. Leviticus wins it for the team. Boomer Friendly gets their first 3 points of Season 4.
Yes, indeed. Get those GGs in chat. We're going to see Leviticus walk across here, and we'll get the official race time, GG time, in just a moment. It's going to be an official race time.gg time for Leviticus of a 1 hour, 35 minutes, and 38 seconds.
And I think if you're really taking a look at this, Leviticus only had one execution stumble, and that was the death to Mothula. Duke Firebird had taken those 2 tumbles down in the Tower of Hera, falling down those 2 floors twice. I think that really created a little bit of separation. Then there's a few extra checks that Duke Firebird made, like, for instance, the Zora and Catfish play that just added up on top of the falls.
Yeah, I don't think they were necessarily a bad place to make because they were kind of efficiently routed in.
It's just they were plays that Leviticus did not make.
Yep. There were just situations where it was like, where we knew, like, okay, you don't need to do this, you can do that. That's the thing. When you're a runner, you're always kind of in a little bit of a box on all these things. You don't have all this info.
Yep. Like, for instance, if you didn't do Thieves Town, you could have just skipped right out of that. But little did Duke Firebird know that was going to be a play that he needed to make in his mind. And it wasn't a bad play. We knew, based on what we had saw, unless the pedestal was needed, it was not going to be anything.
Yes, indeed.
But we are joined here by the winner of the race, representing Boomer Friendly. We have Leviticus. GG's.
GG's.
All right, I'm going to let Nihan Tiger start off with this interview.
Oh boy. Well, I'm trying to think of what I want to say. First off, how you feeling after that one? That was it felt really linear, actually, as a matter of fact. We were kind of commentating on that it seemed to really bounce you where to go, even early on with that book find into Desert Palace.
Yeah, book into Mirror and Desert Palace into Mirror or Hammer on in Hera. Yeah, it was just weird. Very linear, long opening light world before you got dark world access, but it was kind of scary at a lot of parts, especially near the end. I was really worried about Hookshot maybe being in like GT or something weird like that, uh, or potentially in the overworld, which would have been not cool.
Yeah, we were having a bit of a debate on that. I kept saying it was in the Hookshot cave and the Bonkable chest because I hate that place.
Yeah. That would have been the first thing I checked after TR if it hadn't been there, I promise.
Yeah, and what we did learn, based on what chat was telling us, is that because of the key being on that right side with the big key chest coupled with the small key on Cold Stare, Hookshot blocked Ice Palace completion. Technically, a double dip required dungeon.
Yeah, technically, I guess. Honestly, Icebreaker usually this just makes that irrelevant most of the time, but yeah.
Which, by the way, would have also meant that little did we, or little you know at that time, GT would not have had the hookshot at all.
Well, yeah, that's also true. That's a good point. That in that case, yeah, that would have been relevant. I was not thinking that. I was very scared the whole time.
But then you get hookshot right there on Laser Bridge. How much of a sigh of relief did you have when you found that?
Oh, I was like, it had to be in the very last dungeon chest of all of the dungeons before GT. And if I hadn't been there, I would have gone to the bonkable chest, and then I probably would have just done all of GT looking for it.
But at least in that case, you had to still look for that small key.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, you got the hint about Silver's being in the Dark World.
Yeah.
You didn't visit Super Bunny.
That's true. I didn't. That was my plan was to route all of that in after doing TR, because that was a crystal dungeon, and if it's in there, then I'm just in go mode.
Yep. That's where the Silvers were, and the Super Bunny that Duke
Firebird
ended up going into.
They were right there? Oh, wow.
How about that lamp being in Mimic Cave, too? That was another nasty little surprise.
If you don't know how to do any sort of logic break whatsoever, the logic in this seed is absolutely disgusting.
Oh, yeah.
Like, real bad.
It's like,
hey, especially since you needed that lamp technically in logic to get that ice rod out of the big chest of Palace of Darkness.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's horrible. Learn your dark rooms, ladies and gentlemen. That's why. That's the exact reason. You get seeds like this, it'll put you way ahead.
Yeah, especially in this league, there's a lot of people that know how to do that already too. So you kind of have to know how to navigate some of these dark rooms by default, just because you can't afford to not have to go check lamp.
In this seed, knowing the tricks, knowing the dark rooms, knowing things like the Ice Palace bomb jump or Icebreaker saves you from 2 dungeons that were required double dips.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yep, and we've actually got Duke just getting ready to finish up here. We've got Aga 2. The Aga 2 fight was actually pretty nice with I was talking about this too. They're pretty nice with the placements here. Yeah, that scene here for Duke. We had that 2 Agas inside of each other, and then everything kind of laying out really nice with the geometry.
Only thing that wasn't nice is that blue ball that came in that second cycle, but oh well, it is what it is. Now, Mothula behaved a lot nicer for you in that second fight. How much were you wishing that was your first fight?
I was actually really upset about that. Honestly, that's I felt like the RNG in the first fight was so terrible.
Yeah,
and then the second time it was so good in the second fight.
Yeah, that first fight he camped on that top right corner.
Yeah, I could not get him out of the corner that whole time, and I was on 4 hearts. It was the whole thing. I missed the initial hit at the start. It was the whole thing. It was just everything that could have gone wrong went wrong, and then the second fight was like exactly what you want.
All right, Duke Firebird falling into the Ganon fight. Let's cheer him on. This is a Tempered Sword Silver fight coming up.
Yes, indeed it is. Yeah, this Ganon fight also with the RNG on this super kind RNG. No warps on that third phase. Made it really easy. The placements, everything all set up really nice for phase 1 and phase 2 as well. And in fact, Duke's got like the optimal placement up there in that corner right now. We are also being rated by our friends at SpeedGaming Español.
Hola.
Muchas gracias.
That's about as much Spanish as I know, so don't ask me for anything else. All right. Duke Firebird, about to get into stage 4. Silver's in hand, or will soon be in hand.
Yep. Here's the line. Oh no, Cerberus, I want your weakness. Hey, he's gonna not have the torch glitch, but that'll be okay.
Ooh, that was a really nasty spot. If he was a couple of frames over to the left, that would have been a push down to the bottom and start all over again. Anyways, that's it for Duke Firebird. Get your GGs into chat to cheer on Duke Firebird. All right. That's it. Through the finish we go, and 1:43:36 on his timer. One thing I do want to ask, coming up tomorrow, you have the other match between you two teams. We've got James FNX versus Don Van Muir. Your thoughts about that coming up here, Leviticus?
Don't lose, Don. No, I don't know.
No pressure, right?
Yeah, no pressure. I mean,
No
we got one
pressure.
on the board now. You don't have to worry about it. We're pretty much good from here on out. That's fine. We got one win. That's enough. No, I don't really know a lot of the teams in this league. And I don't know James FNX very well, to be honest. But I just hope it's a good game, and obviously I hope we win. But hope Don has a good race, honestly.
And we are joined by Duke Firebird. Your thoughts on the seed?
I really hate linear seeds. That's my Achilles heel.
Yeah, and this seed was super linear.
Stupid linear, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, GG's there, dude. Yeah, it was definitely, it was a very, very almost like a point and click kind of seed where it's like, hey, I give you thing, go here and do thing.
Yep.
Do not deviate from path.
Yep.
Yeah. It didn't help that a lot of the items were in really bad places, just generally speaking. But it was linear, so it didn't really matter. But it still was.
Yeah,
fun.
until you look at the logic of the seed. Oh man.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, we had that nice long conversation before you got in here about what this seed wanted the runners to do with 2 dungeons that were forced double dips if you looked at the logic.
Mm-hmm. Turtle Rock being a double dip because you got to get that lamp to get the ice shot out of pod, and then you also got to get the hook shot off a laser bridge to complete Ice Palace.
Absolutely.
I saw
Absolutely disgusting. Now, you were the first one to get to the flippers in King's Tomb because you went north after doing Skull Woods after you went counterclockwise, or rather, you went clockwise. Now, any thoughts that were in your front of the mind going into Swamp Palace at that point? What made you choose to go into where you went, the Palace of Darkness, and then to Thieves Town over doing Swamp?
Hookless Swamp is not fun because there's 4 potential items in the back, so potentially only getting 2 items in the front.
Yep, and that's absolutely fair. It was just unfortunate luck on your side here that it turned out that left side Swamp had the piece of the logic that opened up the remainder of this seed.
Yep.
One of the worst spots for mitts, I think, in the game, probably.
Yeah, I can think of a couple.
Especially before hookshot,
Before hookshot, that is one of the worst places.
Absolutely.
The other worst place is at King's Tomb.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, too.
Which, by the way, it was kind of that way because of the fact that the flippers were there at King's Tomb.
True.
Yeah. It's funny because I thought that. I was thinking the way that it opened those up without mitts, I kind of really wanted to do North Dark World after Thieves Town, but I just decided not to do it, and I kind of wish I had, but I guess it worked out anyway.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Duke Firebird a couple of tough trips up that Tower of Hera due to the falling down on the 4th floor. We won't say anything further about that.
I need to relearn that placement. Ugh. Aggravating.
That bomb jump usually gives me a lot of trouble. I was really happy to get it this time. I almost didn't go for it out of just fear, but that is one of the roughest. It should be pretty simple, but the punishment's so big that it makes it feel a million times harder than it really is.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That's why I shied away from doing it in the speedruns for the longest time, because that's a nice long time that you're giving back up.
True.
All right, coming up tomorrow, James FNX versus Don Vigneure. Anything you want to say to your teammate, James FNX?
Well, good luck, James. Let's tie the series at least, so we can make it a little more fun. But this was good game. I mean, again, linear seeds are my Achilles heel. So
Fair enough. Yeah.
yeah. In fact, I think if we took a look at any of the tournaments that I've done, I think out of the qualifier seeds that I ran, one of the seeds was linear, and that was actually one of my low drop score. So
Yeah.
figure that one out. Also, wow, our collection rate.
Wait, why was it the same? Or?
No,
151
one
versus
extra.
156.
fewer.
Indeed.
Yeah, I almost also goofed on this because I was like, I had the mirror, I did Skull Woods, and I didn't check pedestal. And then after I left the Skull Woods area, I looked at my tracker and I'm like, oh, well, okay, I don't have flippers, so it's fine. And then I find flippers, I'm like, okay, I don't have hookshot, it's fine.
Yeah, we were concerned that neither of you had checked the pedestal, but obviously it just turned out that we were overinflating the concern about the pedestal all along. You knew what you were doing by skipping that pedestal check. You both knew what you were doing.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's because we didn't have access to Swamp, which is where the pennant was. It didn't really feel worth it.
Yeah, but then the first check I get almost immediately is the flippers, and I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
That did not feel good. Yeah, I was kind of really more hoping for a bow and pod, and I was like, well, oh well.
I definitely made that gamble.
Yeah. Yeah, hooray, dark rooms. Oh, God. I'm just happy I got through the Meyer dark room as quick as I did.
Yeah, you both had the same strategy. Duke Firebird had a little more difficulty there because he didn't get it right on the switch that first time, but nice adjustments to get it through. But solid run for both of you, and good luck to your teammates tomorrow, 2 o'clock Eastern.
Yep,
Absolutely, yeah. GG's.
And good luck to you guys for the rest of the season.
You too.
Yes, indeed, and thanks, of course, Leviticus and Duke, for being here.
Mm-hmm.
Really good to have y'all here. Make sure you give them a follow if you haven't as well. Both runners, both great people and good speedrunners as well.
Yep. And huge thanks to our comms, because these two guys right here, Adirondack Rick and Neon Tiger, two of the best comms in my book. So can't wait to hear this one back.
We do appreciate the thoughts there. At least I know I do, and I know Neon Tiger does as well. And we definitely have the same appreciation for you when you join the mic here at Duke Firebird.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
All right, so with the win, Boomer finally improves to 1-4, and the Immortals drop to 0-5. But will it stay that way? Tomorrow, 2 o'clock will be the answer between James FNX and Don Vigneure. Thank you very much to Cool Heights for doing the tracking for us, and I will leave you with the final word here, Neon Tiger, but I had a lot of fun doing commentary with you. So with that being said, thank you to everyone who helped out with this match. Thank you to everyone who watched. I'm Adirondack Rick saying have a good night.
Absolutely, and I'm Neon Tiger. Remember, someone out there loves you, and we love you too. If you really want to see some more ALTTPR League, and you want to have a little bit more good time, there's an open division race right now on ALTTPR, the ALTTPR League, between Farm Friends and Keys Force. So go ahead and check that one out if you'd like to have a little bit more rando this evening. But yeah, take care of yourselves, one and all. Remember, someone out there loves you, and we love you too. Have a good night. Bye, everybody.